Hello everyone, I'm starting here in my YouTube channel a series of videos that we are gonna talk about HMIs, alright? And we are learn how to design HMIs for us to improve our automation projects, alright? So here with the TIA portal, we are gonna create a new project. I'm gonna call it HMI project. I click here on create. Then I'm gonna click on configure a device, add new device. Here I have device that I can add on my project, alright? So as we want to learn about HMIs, I'm gonna click on HMI. For purpose of simulation, we're gonna use Siemens comfort panel, alright? Because it has internet and profnet interfaces that become that, and that's easy for our simulation if we have this Ethernet interface. All right, so I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna click here in Siemens comfort panel, 7 inches display, TP 700 comfort, and I'm gonna choose this one. All right, then I click on add. This is a basic configuration. This is a basic configuration wizard, right? Here, I don't need to change nothing right now, all right? But just for you to know, here we are gonna select if we already had add a PLC on my project. I would choose it here, all right? Then I would configure it, the HMI and PLC communication, all right? But as our focus right now is the HMI, we don't need to change nothing here, all right? So I click in finish. So now we have here the screen of my HMI where I can design. I can put some objects like buttons, graphic images, all right? Here on my left, I have the project tree, all right? As we add just the HMI, I'm gonna see just the HMI here, all right? On the right side, I have the toolbox. Here I have the objects that I can add on my screen, all right? So in basic objects, I have circles, rectangles, some text, lines. On elements, I have sliders, displays, buttons, all right? On controls, I have some images, and in graphics, here I have images that I can use in my project, such as, if I click here just for you to see, here in industries, I have pumps, I have motors, I have conveyors. For example, if I click here on other equipments, I have many different types of valves, sensors, conveyors, blowers, okay? So I can use all of that images on my screen. And these images are on the basic library of TIA portal, okay? So I'm gonna click here on toolbox, select a switch button, this one. I'm gonna click and bring it to my screen. Okay, so a switch button is a button that has two states, on and off. And I'm gonna create here on my HMI a tag. So here on my project tree, I'm gonna click on HMI tags. I'm gonna click on the full tag table. Then on add new, I'm gonna create a new tag. I'm gonna call it switch button. I need to define the data type of this tag. So as we are working with a digital button, what is a digital button or a digital tag? Is a tag that can assume two values, 1 or 0, true or false. Okay, this type of variable, I'm gonna call it bool. So it's a Boolean switch button. It can assume two states, true or false. Okay, so then after we create the tag, I'm gonna return to my screen, click on my object, and I'm gonna select properties on the bottom, and I'm gonna click here and drag. Okay, so these are the properties of my button. Okay, I'm gonna click here on general. Here in process, I have this tag label. I'm gonna click here in these 3 points, and I'm gonna select the tag that I just created. Okay, so I click here on switch button. Okay, now my switch button is linked with the tag switch button. Okay, so when my switch button change his state to on, my tag switch button is changed too. So that's it. Okay, now I'm gonna click here on toolbox again. On basic objects, I'm gonna select the circle. I drag it to my screen. What I want to do, when my switch button is on, I want my circle to become green. When my switch button is off, I want my circle to become red. Okay, so now I click on this object, click on animation, add new animation. I'm gonna add an animation of the type appearance. Okay, so I'm gonna click here on this blue object. Now I have a new animation. Okay, I need to associate this animation with a tag. Okay, so I'm gonna link this animation with the tag switch button. So I click here, click on switch button. Okay, now I have this table on the bottom of my screen. I click here on add new, and I click on the second line too. I have two values here, 0 and 1. 0 is when my switch button is on off state. Okay, when it's in its off state, the circle, it's gonna assume these colors, gray, and his borderline black. Okay, when my switch button is 1, my circle is gonna assume these colors, gray and black. I need to change these colors. Okay, my background color is gonna be red when my switch button tag is on 0, okay? And when it's 1, I want the color to be green. So I click here on green, and that's okay, all right? Now I'm gonna simulate this. For our simulation, I click here on this button, Start Simulation. I click here. Now, my switch button is in its off state, okay, off state. So my circle is red. When I double click my switch button, it's gonna become on state, and my circle is gonna be green. So that's an example of an HMI where we worked with digital tags, okay, Boolean type, true or false.